Good morning edition. It's one of the busiest seasons for the national airline as many travelers are heading in and out of the Florida market and other destinations. Jimenita Swain is standing by from the Lynden Pindling International Airport with the airline's managing director. Good morning again, Jimenita.
Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning, Bahamas. We're coming to you live from the Lynden Pindling International Airport, and just behind me is, of course, the counter for the national airline, Bahamas Air. Passengers moving about, getting ready to get on a flight. But, of course, to find out what exactly is happening with Bahamas Air, the managing director for the national airline, Mr. Tracy Cooper, now joins us on the morning edition. Good morning, Mr. Cooper, and welcome to the morning edition.
And good morning, Jimenita.
Now, this is a Wednesday morning. It's not too busy as yet, but how are things shaping up at the national airline for today's operation?
Well, today's operation, we expect it to be solid. As a matter of fact, over the past week, given that it's a Thanksgiving break, we have seen very robust loads. For our international, we had full flights. For the domestic, the flights were pretty much full as well. So we expect to see this trend going throughout the Christmas.
Now, I know one of the markets that is particularly strong is, of course, the Florida market in the United States. Any plans to increase what's happening there?
Well, our Christmas schedule actually takes that into consideration. So I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we actually increased all of the flights going to all of the destinations in Florida.
Now, are there any plans to look at other destinations in the United States that you may want to tap into as well?
Presently, we review, and we do this in conjunction mainly with the Ministry of Tourism, where we look and see where the government and by extension the ministry wants to place its emphasis, and we try to figure out how we could help that. Right now, they've given us several routes that we are reviewing. I don't want to really say what they are because we have not made a decision as yet, but we are reviewing in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism.
And what about regional destinations? Is that the similar considerations take place?
Presently, we think that we're okay with the regional destination, and this is based on the amount of airplanes that we have. We only have 5 ATRs, so we don't want to make sure we overcapacitate or try to do too much and then have reliability issues. So right now we think we're okay domestically.
Now, in terms of Abaco and Grand Bahama, we just look at that for a minute and what's been happening. I know that they have been rebounding, getting in flights. How is that looking for your focus? Well,
for Bahamas Air, we're quite happy and pleased to say that we have been a very integral part of the recovery effort so far. For Grand Bahama and for both the 2 airports in Abaco, Marsh Harbor and Treasure Key, we have been operating domestically on a daily basis. In consideration for the international side, which is Freeport, Fort Lauderdale, and Marsh Harbor, West Palm Beach, we know that those are coming on stream very shortly. We believe that within the next 2 weeks, we'll be operating from those destinations internationally.
So definitely welcome news for residents there. I know they've had to come into the capital. But when we look at Bahamas Air from a financial point of view, we know that some destinations locally have proved to be challenging. How are you looking at those destinations to bring improvements to them?
We're kind of unique as an airline. We're just not a profit-making entity. We're also making sure that we provide a part of the transportation system throughout our country. So we're not looking at all of our routes just simply from a profit-making standpoint. We will continue to work along with the government to decide which routes we continue to fly, and really that will be the primary consideration as to any expansions or retractions within the Bahamas.
And in terms of the capacity for the airline, you mentioned the number of flights. I think you mentioned 5 ATRs. Any additional plans to increase capacity numbers?
Well, yes, we do have on stream to bring one additional 737-700. We brought one in February of this year, and we intend to bring a second one. It's twofold. In the short term, it'll provide an additional aircraft, but we're also looking to transition out the older 737s that we have and eventually replace them all with the 700 aircraft.
And of course, this is, of course, the last month for 2019. What are you looking forward to, or what are your projections for 2020?
We have some exciting things for 2020 for Bahamas Air. For instance, we are changing out our core passenger service application. And it's going to provide a little bit more progressiveness as to what the passenger can do. You'll be able to check in online mobily, and really we'll be having kiosks. We'll be able to communicate with all of the passengers via smart devices. Our frequent flyer program will be something that everybody is going to be envious of, and they'll be able to service themselves versus where we're having a human interaction right now. So we're saying that just wait and see, especially with the electronic innovations, we're coming.
Well, thank you so much. That is, of course, the Managing Director for the National Airline Bahamas Air, Mr. Tracy Cooper. As he mentioned, some great plans underway for Bahamas Air. So as he says, we all will just wait and see. Back to you in Studio, LaDon.